All right, welcome back, everybody. It's going to be Wednesday. It is the 1st, November 1st, first day of the month. All right, we're going to start with some trades this morning. Of course, we had that FOMC announcement today. Looks like they're not touching rates right now. But markets were a little choppy this morning. Then they finally started straightening out. So let's take a look and see what we did here. Now, it's going to be gold. Gold was going to be the first trade that I put on today. And it came in right here. It was a pairing pattern buy. I had a pairing pattern buy. Never did hit my target. I finally took an exit, took a small loss on the gold. I did eventually re-enter gold, and I'll show you that here in just a second here. I did finally, later on in the morning, we did finally get what we call an HF3 short. Went ahead and took the HF3 short, hit my target, then I was done with gold. All right, so we had some other setups. I didn't take them only because I knew we were going into a report. And I typically don't like to put on trades later in the day. So that was it on the gold. We did trade a few indices. Let's take a look at those. All right, so coming out of the gate here on the mini Russell, got triggered in by... This case, it was an HF1 buy, and we had this really sharp push down here, or breakdown, after the opening, and it was probably, I was in this trade, I don't even think I was in this trade for a full minute, and I did get stopped out. We did have some reversals, but I didn't take any reversals. Looks like it would have hit targets. Targets were a little bit tighter on the downside, but I did not get back in because of that type of volatility to me. I was a little concerned about that based on the fact that we had the report coming out. Sometimes when you have a big report like FOMC coming out, a lot of times the market can get extremely choppy. And so I thought that was going to be the case for the rest of the day. But we had this nice little move up again. So definitely had the right idea. But I wasn't about to put in a much larger stomp on that. I didn't want to risk too much on it because it was, once again, it was a day where we had the big report coming out. But I did eventually get, let me show you this. I did eventually get an HF3 short. All right. So we got an HF3 short here right before noon. I felt pretty comfortable with that because I figured that it wouldn't take long before I hit my target. And I finally did hit my target, which was this lower target down here. So I did get out on this lower target here. So I made a little bit of money in there in the mini Russell. That was it for the mini Russell. Now remember, when I'm trading, folks, I'm just trading 4 specific patterns. These are my own developed patterns. These are not publicly available patterns. These are something that I have developed over the last 40 years. So I do like them. They work with everything, and it just simplifies the whole process of trading, right? And so just because I get a particular pattern set up for buy or sell, I want you to understand that I don't just mechanically, I am not a mechanical trader. I don't believe that works. So I am still making a decision whether I am going to take a particular setup or not. And the way I do that is I look at a lot of different things. I believe in a really kind of a global approach, meaning that I'm looking at other correlated indices. I want to see what the overall market is doing. Also looking at the type of volume that's coming in, right? So whether it be level 2, timing sales, looking at that volume, I want to see, is it confirmation of the trade that I want to get into? So I'm really looking at a lot of different things before I go ahead and take a particular trade. So it is not mechanical. I don't believe a mechanical system exists, or at least not right now it does. It doesn't, because you can't confine the market like that. All right, so you've got to there has to be some subjectivity in it, so to speak, and you have to learn how to become a discretionary trader. You have to understand the markets and the flow of every single one of the instruments that you're trading. All of them have a little bit different personality, and there's nothing wrong with trading just one index. A lot of people trade the S&P 500 E-minis. Some people like to trade the mini Russell. Some people like to trade the mini Nasdaq. Then there's people that only trade metals or energies. There's nothing wrong with that because you get a really good feel. The key is that you want to make sure if you're going to be trading a particular instrument, you want to make sure that it has enough volume, right? Enough volatility during the day to keep being able to trade it. Unlike a lot of stocks, a lot of the penny stocks, which I do trade penny stocks, but the problem is a lot of those penny stocks are only good for one day and then they die off. So you can't really keep trading a particular stock. Now, there are going to be some that just have nice moves, and that's going to be something that you can do. I do that a lot on some of them, but overall, it's very difficult to stick with just one stock and trade it unless it has, once again, a lot of volume, a lot of volatility to it. Then you can do that. But for most traders, they like to see the daily volatility. They want to see opportunity there every day. So, these indices are great for that. And I've been trading indices for over 40 years, and I just love the indices, and I understand them really well. And the key with the indices is you have to be willing, right, to give yourself a little bit of room, all right? And just because it's coming at a certain level, I know a lot of people like to look at support and resistance, but there's more to it than just support and resistance, right? I don't personally use support and resistance. I am aware of it. I'm aware of where the orders are, but it's not something that's going to be a factor in my whether I take a particular trade or not. All right. The decision is going to be based not only on the pattern itself, but obviously, what the other markets or the other correlated indices or instruments are doing with everything else involved. So that being said, nice little trade on the short side there on the Russell. I did trade a mini Nasdaq. I'll show you that because that was pretty clean on the mini Nasdaq. So let's take a look at the mini Nasdaq. All right, so here's the mini Nasdaq trade. Bought a nice little HF1 buy. I ended up getting out of the spike. So once it spiked, I actually got into this trade a little bit late, and so the idea was to put on a few more contracts and really not hold it very long, but just try to scalp it, pull a little bit out of it. Because once again, I was concerned about the volatility in here, whether it was going to start breaking down or just go sideways. So I didn't want to take a chance. So when I saw this early spike coming out, I just went ahead and got out of it and made a nice little profit on that. So overall, not a bade day. Made a little bit of money in gold, a little bit of money in Nasdaq, a little bit of money on the mini Russell. Not a huge day, but nonetheless, it didn't start off good with that gold trade. But we finally were able to pull out some green and make it a fairly decent day. So that's going to be it. So tomorrow, Thursday, okay? So Thursday's always one of my favorite days to trade. So really looking forward to tomorrow. And looking at the action today, I would expect it to be a pretty good day. Probably see some really nice follow through tomorrow. And but we're just gonna have to wait and see. We're gonna continue to trade. We're gonna focus on the indices, and we're gonna continue to focus in on possibly some metals and energies. All right, in the morning show. And then as we move over to Discord, we always have a few stocks that we like to trade and so forth. But maybe we'll bring those back in the morning show and maybe start doing a little bit of trading on some of these stocks. But right now, I just really, for everybody that's just kind of watching us and watching what I do, I just want to stick with the indices a little bit longer. And some of these commodities, gold, some of the metals, and some of the energies, crude oil, and natural gas. All right, that's it. Any questions? Contact me via my website, innovative trading strategies.com. Until tomorrow, everybody have a good day.